Welcome back to the channel. Today we are bringing you the story of Lee Sung-min, a low-life rookie who gets a second shot at life by regressing in time, only to mess things up even worse. He thought he could turn his fate around, but somehow, he's just speeding toward disaster. If you're new here, make sure to hit like and subscribe for more videos. The story begins with a young boy named Lee Sung-min, sitting in a strange place. Meanwhile, a man stands in front of him and looks at him. The man believes that Sung-min is an alien from another world. Sung-min is also surprised. He has many questions in his mind. He looks around and finds out that they are in an old-fashioned city. The man scratches his head as he is thinking about how to explain Sung-min everything. Then he says to Sung-min that he knows Sung-min is confused and asks him to calm down and listen. Suddenly, Sung-min takes off his t-shirt and starts tying himself up. The man looks confused. He tells Sung-min to calm down again. He asks him why he is removing his clothes. The man then explains that this world is called Area. It is a world of swords, magic, and monsters. Many demons as well as deadly beasts live here. Because of them, people are always fighting to survive. This world pulls people from different dimensions into its battles. The first place they arrive is this city, called Xenovis. The man asks Sung-min if he has ever learned magic or martial arts. Sung-min stammers, and he replies, "No." He asks if people learn it here. The man nods and says that Sung-min looks like an extracurricular student. Sung-min asks what extracurricular means. The man tells him it is just a name for people like him. He says he will explain more later. He asks for Sung-min's name. Sung-min tells him his name. The man sighs. He says that since they have met, he cannot leave Sung-min alone. He says Sung-min must be hungry. He invites Sung-min to eat with him. He promises to explain more about Area during the meal. Sung-min is happy. He thanks the man. The man asks if Sung-min is thirsty. Sung-min nods. The man gives him a canteen. Sung-min thanks him again and drinks from the bottle. But suddenly he spits the water out, right onto the man's face. The man screams and clutches his face in pain. Sung-min smirks. He says it is hard to act like a new and innocent person. He asks the man if he wanted to poison him with goblin paralysis poison. Sung-min explains that the poison is colorless and tasteless when mixed with water. But it has a tiny smell, and it tingles on the tongue. However, if it gets in the eyes, it burns much more. The man is shocked. He realizes Sung-min is not a normal new recruit in Area. He asks Sung-min how he knows this. Sung-min smirks again. He says he is just a new extracurricular student. But before the man can attack him, Sung-min swiftly knees him in the groin. The man falls in pain. Sung-min says that even though he just arrived, he has 13 years of experience. While the man groans on the ground, Sung-min draws his sword and swings it. He tells the man that he should remember Area's #1 rule: do not trust anyone. This is the worst world in the universe. Time skips forward. Sung-min has almost nothing with him, only 100,000 eras and 1 dagger. He thinks it is better than nothing. He touches his body and checks himself. He feels strange. He does not have any scars or muscles. Then he realizes the truth. He really traveled back in time, 13 years, to the moment he first appeared in Area. Sung-min thinks about his past life. He is 27 years old. Before returning, he was a C-rank mercenary. His life was miserable. He had no talent, no noble background, and no path to the top. He kept looking for ways to become stronger. One day, he got lucky. He found a hidden dungeon. After a hard battle, he found a small chest inside. He opened it with hope. Inside, there was only a single stone. He did not know what it was for, but he carried it with him. Then right before he died, he saw a notification. The Stone of Return is activated. He will return to the point of departure, 13 years ago. Now Sung-min understands. The stone's purpose is to send its owner back in time. He quickly checks his stats, but they are empty. He has no abilities, no skills. He gets angry. He hoped he would keep his power, but everything is gone. He realizes it is the same as before. Nothing has changed, except for one thing. He still has 13 years of combat experience. His memories are not perfect, but he remembers key events. He also knows about extracurricular students' benefits. Sung-min goes to a chiropractor. Many people from different worlds arrive in Area, including magicians and martial artists, but extracurricular students are usually the weakest. They arrive without any skills. Most of them die before they get a chance to grow. That was Sung-min's past life, filled with humiliation, poverty, and endless struggle. For 13 years, he had nothing but pain, and unfortunately, in the end, he died without achieving anything. But this time, he will change everything. He tells the chiropractor he wants an operation to enhance his skeleton. He is determined to do anything to make his life better. A while later, a notification appears. His skeleton has been upgraded to a low-level martial artist. Sung Min also learns the heavenly concentration technique. He leaves the chiropractor's office with hope. He now has 2 ways to grow stronger: his new skeleton and his new technique. These are things he never got in his past life. He suddenly remembers that Xanavis has an old bookstore. In his past life, there was a hidden level 1 concentration technique book there. If he had learned it before, he could have become stronger much faster. He decides to go there this time. Sung Min then sets his next goal: winning a Coliseum tournament in 1 year. The tournament is only for extracurricular students, and the requirements are low. He is confident he can win. But first, he needs money. He decides to become a monster hunter. Sung Min goes to a store to buy armor and weapons. The salesman laughs at him. Sung Min only has 60,000 eras, but to his bad luck, the cheapest armor costs 300,000 eras. Sung Min then tries to sell his modern clothes in exchange of the armor. He says they come from a highly advanced world and are valuable, but the salesman laughs at him. He calls Sung Min a naive rookie. However, he suddenly changes his mind. He decides to let Sung Min buy the armor on debt. He tells Sung Min that arrogance is a second blessing. He respects people who fight for survival. Sung Min now has a debt of 240,000 eras. Later, Sung Min enters a forest. As the light armor he bought increases survival chances, SK, he does not regret going into debt. In his past life, no one helped him but to his surprise. But this time, things are different. Suddenly, he stops as he remembers the first time he hunted here. Back then, he was weak and scared. Now he is stronger, so he laughs at his past self. Suddenly, a goblin appears in front of him. Sung Min quickly charges forward. He attacks the goblin with his spear called Spirit Knocking Spear. His first kill in this life is complete. As he looks at his hand, he feels pain. The technique burns his palm, but Sung Min smiles. This is just the beginning. Meanwhile, QEC, a green-haired girl, appears. A red aura surrounds her. A blue light appears above her head. It looks like someone is being summoned into area. She looks confused, just like Sung Min was. She is having a lot of questions. Sung Min stands in front of a building. It is an inn. He goes inside and Jack, the innkeeper, greets him. Jack recognizes Sung Min immediately. Sung Min tells Jack that he has brought payment for his stay. Jack asks, what is he paying for? And Sung Min says, it is the same as always. Jack looks at Sung Min's purse and is surprised. The purse can hold a spear, and such a purse is worth a lot of money. He asks where Sung Min got it. Sung Min replies that he got a discount from a merchant. Jack laughs and says Sung Min is a businessman because he brings goblin teeth and blood serum. Jack says this will last for a few days. He also says that the Wizard Guild does not care about Sung Min because they are greedy. Jack tells Sung Min that he has a talent. Sung Min does not understand what talent Jack is talking about. Jack explains that when Sung Min first came, he agreed to pay rent with his hunting rewards. Jack did not expect Sung Min to survive long. But now, Sung Min has been hunting successfully and paying rent for 2 weeks. Jack says, this proves Sung Min is talented. Sung Min feels annoyed. Jack continues and says that most people like Sung Min struggle to survive. He happily says that Sung Min could become like Zeon if he continues. But Sung Min does not respond and goes to his room. He says he is tired, but inside he feels frustrated. He clenches his fists and grows angry. In his room, Sung Min thinks about Jack's words. He does not believe he is talented. In his past life, he only reached C rank as a mercenary. He remembers several techniques from his past life: soul-shattering spear, lightning leap, metal blood exoskeleton, and saxifrage strike. These are techniques from Area's mechanics. Sung Min can remember them and practice them, but they are only second-level combat techniques. He knows these will not take him far. His only hope is a technique called first-rate cultivation technique, but unfortunately it also has some limits. It does not provide endless energy. Sung Min begins to concentrate. He realizes he needs better martial arts techniques to improve. The next morning, Sung Min leaves the inn. A girl stops him. She asks if he is going hunting again. She asks why he is risking his life. The girl is Lula, Jack's daughter. Sung Min says he is an outsider, and this is his only way to make money. Lula asks why he does not find a regular job. She gives an example and says her father Jack would take care of him. Sung Min refuses, as he says he does not know how to cook or clean. Lula argues that learning to be an innkeeper is safer than risking his life every day. Sung Min looks away and smiles. He feels pleased that she worries about him, but he still goes out and says he will be back for lunch. Sung Min remembers living like this before. In his past life, he always followed others and did what they asked. He knows he can live like that again, but he refuses. Because this time, he wants something different. He wants something he always envied. So, he decides that he will do anything to succeed in this life. Later, Sung Min hears a bell ring. It is midday, and new arrivals appear in the town square. Suddenly, a portal opens. A green-haired girl steps out. Sung Min first thinks she is a boy, and assumes she practices martial arts. They seem to be the same age. The girl looks confused. Sung Min knows that local bandits will notice her behavior. Soon the bandits appear in front of the girl. Sung Min watches but decides to walk away. However, he suddenly bumps into someone. It is a tall man with a scar on his lip. The man angrily claims that Sung Min broke his collarbone. The bandit slaps Sung Min hard and throws him to the ground. People around them watch, but no one helps. The bandit tells the crowd not to worry. He says Sung Min deserves punishment. He demands payment. The people watching quickly leave. Another bandit joins Hyung. Sung Min feels unlucky. He knows these men are part of a gang. Hyung's punch is not strong, but he knows how to fight. Sung Min realizes that Hyung is a third-grade hand-to-hand combat fighter. This is the lowest rank, but still better than nothing. Sung Min himself has not even reached this level. He understands he cannot win alone. The local authorities do not care about outsiders, so no one will help him. Suddenly, Sung Min shouts at the green-haired girl. He warns her not to drink the water because it contains paralysis poison. The girl suddenly stops, but Sung Min does not know if she can fight, but he thinks that she is from Murim, so she should have some skills. The girl begins to pour the water on the ground. Meanwhile, we see Hyung gets angry. He tells Sung Min that he looks decent but acts shamefully. One of Hyung's men says that perverted nobles might buy the girl. Hyung attacks Sung Min with his knee. Sung Min knows he cannot let this happen. He uses lightning leap to dodge. Then he swings his elbow using the metal blood exoskeleton technique. He punches Hyung's side. The other bandits look shocked. Sung Min keeps attacking and uses the saxifrage strike technique. But Hyung does not fall. Instead, he laughs. Sung Min realizes that Hyung has strong defensive skills. With his small body and low strength, Sung Min knows he cannot defeat Hyung. Suddenly, another bandit shouts. The town guards are coming. The bandits decide to retreat. The green-haired girl watches Sung Min. She seems impressed by his determination. Sung Min knows his fists are not enough. He takes out his spear. But before he can fight, the girl suddenly stands in front of him. She asks him to repeat what he said earlier. Sung Min is shocked. Before he can answer, Hyung attacks again. The girl lightly touches his fist. Hyung flies backward and crashes into his companions. The girl claims the bandit does not know his place. Sung Min is amazed. The girl used a palm strike filled with spiritual energy. This is not a second-class or even first-class hand-to-hand combat technique. Sung Min realizes that she is a master. He cannot believe it. She is the same age as him and was summoned just a few weeks after him. Suddenly he realizes she is a young sky demon, Weiji Ho Yeon, and she comes from the cult of the heavenly demon. This cult values power above all. The strongest become leaders. Sung Min feels nervous. Yeon introduces herself and says he is 13 years old. Sung Min is surprised. He is only 1 year younger than him. Yeon says he is interested in Area because it is different from her world. He asks if there is a sky demon cult here. Sung Min says no. Yeon laughs and then suddenly becomes serious. He reminds Sung Min that he shouted at him in the square when he warned him about the poisoned water. Then he demands to know why Sung Min spoke to her like that. Sung Min quickly apologizes, explaining he did not know he was a young leader. But Yeon finds it amusing. He says he saw Sung Min fight. He calls his techniques clumsy. He asks who taught him such bad skills. Sung Min gets angry. But before he can argue, Yeon says he will teach him martial arts. Sung Min is shocked. He wonders if Yeon is serious. Yeon says he will teach him. But there is one condition. Sung Min becomes nervous. Yeon smiles and announces the condition. Sungmin must be his friend. Sungmin is shocked and does not know what to think. We go back in time and see Yeon talking to his father. Yeon asks if he can have a friend. His father is surprised and asks who told him about this. Yeon holds up a book and says he read it there. The book says that with a friend, no trouble is too big. Yeon's father agrees but says this is only true for normal people, not for him. Yeon is the heir to the throne and will lead many demon warriors one day. His father, Weiji Hawk, is the leader of the Sky Demon cult. He shouts that a ruler does not need friends. Instead, Yeon should focus on training in martial arts. He tells Yeon to stop reading useless books. Yeon becomes upset and runs away. Hawk watches his son go and thinks about his strength. Even though Yeon is only 10 years old, he is already very powerful. Hawk knows his son is strong, but it also scares him. He worries about what will happen in the future. We return to the present. Yeon asks Sungmin to be his friend. Yeon is the heir to the heavenly demon cult and has always been watched by others. He has trained since he was a baby and never had time to make friends. Sungmin is confused and asks why Yeon chose him. Yeon asks if Sungmin is not friends with people his age. Sungmin is surprised, but shakes Yeon's hand. Yeon smiles and says that Sungmin is now his friend. Sungmin feels strange because he is actually 27 years old, yet he is becoming friends with a 13-year-old. Yeon keeps his promise and begins teaching Sungmin martial arts. He teaches him the path of the Violet Dawn. This technique was created by an unorthodox demon sect. The energy it creates is purple. Sungmin thought Yeon would teach him the Sky Demon martial arts. But Yeon explains that only the heavenly demon and his heirs can learn those techniques. Instead, he says the Violet Dawn technique is still very powerful. A month passes. Sungmin trains hard and becomes stronger. Now he is somewhere between second and first class martial arts mastery. In his past life, this would have been a great achievement, but Yeon is not impressed. He says that Sungmin's teacher is the great Yeon, yet he has only improved this much. Yeon says that Sungmin has no talent. Sungmin feels annoyed but does not argue. One day while hunting, Sungmin sees something moving in the trees. Suddenly, a huge orc jumps out and swings a bat at him. Sungmin barely dodges in time. If he was slower, his head would have been smashed. Sungmin quickly attacks. He uses his spear and kills the orc. He feels proud of himself. But Yeon is watching and laughs. He asks why Sungmin is so happy about killing just one orc. Sungmin walks up to the orc's body and finds something strange. Orcs are not supposed to be in this area, so how did this one get here? Suddenly, a man in a white cloak appears. He says that Sungmin is a good fighter for his age. He introduces himself as Woo Hir-young. In the capital, people call him the Orchid Sword. Sungmin asks what Hir-young wants. Hir-young explains that there is a bigger problem involving the orcs. Then, we move to the city. A man named Do Sangryang, also known as a little monkey, looks at Sungmin and asks Hir-young why they need him. Hir-young says that Sungmin may look small, but he saw his skills in battle, and he believes Sungmin will be useful. A man named Wang Pei, also known as the Black Rain Dagger, agrees with Hir-young. Then, a girl introduces herself as Rainier, and she is a student of magic from the Vela school. Rainier asks Sungmin if he knows about the job they are offering. She explains that an orc tribe has set up a camp near the city. These orcs attack villages and travelers. Hir-young says that the Mercenary Guild is offering a reward of 20 million eras to the group that destroys the orc camp. With the spoils, the total reward will be around 35 million eras. Sungmin asks how they will split the money. Hir-young says it will be divided among 5 people. Sungmin calculates that he will earn around 7 million eras if he joins. This is a rare chance, but he also wonders if he can trust these people. After thinking for a moment, Sungmin decides to join them. Hir-young is happy and tells Sungmin that he made the right choice. With Sungmin on their team, the mission will be easier. Sungmin thanks Hir-young for his kind words. Then, he notices 2 men sitting nearby and asks who they are. Hir-young explains that they are just porters, as they are nobodies with no class. Their job is to carry equipment for a small fee. Hir-young says they are not important. This makes Sungmin feel uneasy. He does not like the way Hir-young talks about them, but he stays quiet. The group prepares to leave. As they get ready, Sungmin watches Hir-young. There is something about him that feels off. He smiles creepy, almost like he is hiding something. Therefore, the group begins their journey. Hir-young leads the way, and the porter walks at the back. As they move forward, Sung Min asks Monkey how many orcs are in the camp. Monkey says there are around 50, but they will only have to fight about 30. He explains that orcs are slow and clumsy, so the fight will be easy. If they surprise the orcs, they can kill them quickly. Sung Min asks about the plan. Hye-young explains that they will split into 2 groups. One group includes Hye-young and Sung Min. The other group includes Wang Pei, Monkey, and Lady Rainier. Rainier will use wind magic to spread their scent all over the forest. Orcs hate when someone enters their land, so they will come out of the camp to fight. Monkey says that once the orcs come, Rainier will attack with battle magic. Meanwhile, Sung Min and Monkey will light a flare to attract another group of orcs. This will split the orcs into 2 groups, making them easier to defeat. Sung Min thinks the plan is simple but reasonable. He believes it would be better to set traps, but there is no time. Also, they do not have enough people for that. After some time, Hye-young sees a sign. He says they are near the orc territory and will now split up. He wishes everyone luck in battle. Sung Min turns around and looks at the porter. The porter is very tired. They have been walking for half a day, and Sung Min knows this must be hard for an extracurricular student. He looks at the porter and remembers his past life. He feels unhappy because the porter reminds him of his old self. Sung Min asks the porter his name. The porter says his name is Brass. Sung Min tells Brass that he is not sure he can protect him when the battle starts. He gives Brass the choice to stay or run away. Sung Min realizes that Hye-young does not care about the porter. He has not even noticed their conversation. Brass says he cannot run away. Sung Min is not surprised. He knows that if Brass runs, the guild will punish him. Sung Min tells Brass to protect himself by any means necessary. Hye-young tells Sung Min that they have arrived. Luckily, they did not meet any orc patrols. Hye-young points to a fence in the distance and says that it is the orc camp. Hye-young wants to light the flare to attract the orcs, but Sung Min stops him. He takes out a small pouch from his belt. Hye-young looks at the pouch and realizes it is a magic bag that can hold many items. Sung Min takes out some water and mixes it with dirt to make mud. He explains that they need to cover themselves in mud to hide their scent. Hye-young is surprised by Sung Min's cleverness. He says that Sung Min is very smart for his age. Sung Min replies that he had a good teacher. Suddenly, a flare appears in the sky. The orcs see it. Hye-young has an idea. He suggests sending the porter ahead as bait. The orcs will focus on him, making it easier for them to attack from behind. Brass is shocked and terrified. He begs Hye-young not to send him to his death. Hye-young laughs and says he was only joking. But Sung Min is angry at Hye-young's cruel behavior. Sung Min steps forward and says that he will go first instead of Brass. Brass cannot believe what he is hearing. Hye-young smiles and says he does not mind. Meanwhile, a group of 13 orcs moves toward them. The battle begins. Sung Min fights the orcs. He kills one, leaving 12. Then he kills another, leaving 11. He wonders if he can win. But he pushes away his doubts and decides to fight with full strength. Sung Min suddenly thinks about Brass. He wonders why he cares about him. They are not friends. They are just 2 weak people in a dangerous world. But something inside Sung Min does not want to abandon him. Sung Min remembers a lesson from his past life. A teacher once told him that the strong make the rules. In this world, power is everything. But Sung Min knows this rule is harsh and cruel. He remembers his training with Yeon. His teacher told him to always fight from a distance and use his spear wisely. Sung Min focuses. He uses the level 3 soul-shattering spear attack and kills 2 orcs at once. Then he follows up with lightning-splitting strike. The orcs watching from the side begin to fear him. Hye-young joins the battle and starts killing orcs as well. Meanwhile, an orc attacks Brass. Brass is too scared to move. He closes his eyes and waits for the orc to kill him. But before the orc can strike, Sung Min steps in and kills it. Brass opens his eyes and sees that he is safe. Sung Min is glad that he could protect him. The battle ends, and all 13 orcs are defeated. Hye-young walks among the bodies and cuts off their ears. He counts them and confirms that they killed 13 orcs. He collects the ears in a bag to prove their victory, then throws the bag to the porter, Brass. The group prepares to leave and find their companions. As they walk, Brass quietly thanks Sung Min before moving ahead. Sung-min watches him for a moment before following. Meanwhile, Monkey and the others wait for Sung-min and Hye-young to return. Monkey wonders why they are taking so long since the rest of the group already finished killing their orcs. When Sung-min and Hye-young arrive, Monkey notices that they are covered in mud and asks what happened. Hye-young laughs and says everything went perfectly, giving credit to Sung-min for helping. He also warns that the real battle is just beginning. Suddenly, something flies through the air. A dagger strikes Rainier, and she falls, bleeding. Blood pours from her wound as she groans in pain. Monkey is confused, not understanding what just happened, but Hye-young is already moving, swinging his weapon toward Monkey. Sung-min reacts quickly, blocking Hye-young's attack with his spear and pushing him back. Hye-young tells Sung-min to stay out of the way. At that moment, Sung-min remembers something from his past life. Years ago, he worked part-time as a porter. One day, he was carrying goods when he saw a large crowd gathered in the street. He stopped to look. A man beside him explained that they were executing a special criminal, a mercenary from Murim who had betrayed his teammates and taken all the rewards for himself. He was caught and was now being punished. Sung-min looked at the criminal being executed. It was Hye-young. Now in the present, Sung-min fights Hye-young. Hye-young is surprised by how fast Sung-min reacted, almost as if he knew this attack was coming. Sung-min remembers Hye-young's execution clearly. Even though 13 years have passed, he can never forget it. It was the first execution Sung-min ever witnessed. Hye-young sighs and says it can't be helped. He admits that Sung-min is a good fighter, as he saw his skills during the orc battle, but Hye-young still believes he is stronger. Sung-min knows that Hye-young is a second-class fighter, while he is only between third and second class. The difference in skill is huge, but still, Sung-min is not afraid. He refuses to give up as he is confident at reading Hye-young's movements. As Hye-young prepares to slash with his sword, Sung-min quickly moves and strikes first with his spear. His attack lands, forcing Hye-young to jump back. Suddenly, Hye-young touches his mouth and sees blood. He is still confident, but suddenly his hands begin to tremble. Something is wrong. Just then, Sung-min reveals that he mixed a long-acting poison into the mud that Hye-young smeared on himself. The poison is not deadly since it didn't enter his stomach, but it weakens the body. Hye-young's hands are now too shaky to fight properly. Sung-min tells him that in this condition, even a weaker opponent could defeat him. But before Sung-min can react, Hye-young suddenly dashes toward Brass and grabs him, pressing his sword against the porter's throat. Sung-min freezes in shock, realizing what Hye-young is doing. Hye-young believes Sung-min cares about Brass and thinks Sung-min is soft-hearted. He is sure Sung-min will have no choice but to let him go. Sung-min wonders if Hye-young really believes taking a hostage will save him. He tries to move forward, but Hye-young threatens to kill Brass if he does. Sung-min thinks back to his years as a mercenary. He wonders why he is even helping Brass. They are not friends. Brass is just a weak porter. But then Sung-min sees Hye-young's crazed expression and realizes now is not the time to think about this. Sung-min is exhausted from the battle with the orcs. If he were at full strength, he could strike before Hye-young could react. But unfortunately now, he is too tired. Hye-young might recover from the poison soon. If Monkey gets fooled and sides with Hye-young, then Sung-min will have to fight two opponents at once. Sung-min cannot wait. He must act now. Brass looks at Sung-min. Then, he makes a bold decision. Brass suddenly steps back and slashes Hye-young's arm with a small knife. They both fall to the ground. Witnessing this, Sung-min is surprised. Hye-young is furious, as he cannot believe an extracurricular student dared to attack him. In anger, Hye-young thrusts his sword into Brass's body. Brass gasps and collapses. Meanwhile, we see Hye-young smiles, satisfied. Sung-min stands over Hye-young, who is lying under Brass's body. Hye-young looks up at Sung-min and realizes he is in danger. He tries to talk, but Sung-min is too angry. Without hesitation, he drives his spear into Hye-young's chest, killing him. Meanwhile, Monkey fights Wang Pei, and he wins, but is not badly injured. Sung-min kneels beside Brass. The porter is dead. Sung-min feels guilty. Brass died trying to help him. He stands there, looking at the lifeless bodies of Brass and Hye-young. His heart feels heavy. Later, Sung-min and Monkey go to the Mercenary Guild. They collect their reward for killing the orcs and split the money and loot. Afterward, Sung-min returns home. Yan greets him cheerfully, noticing that Sung-min is late. Sung-min feels exhausted and immediately lies on the bed. As he stares at the ceiling, he thinks about what happened. If he had been just a little stronger, he could have saved Brass. This thought bothers him. He does not want to live this life, feeling guilty about his failures. Suddenly, Yan speaks, saying that Sung-min has killed a man. Sung-min is startled and asks how he knows. Yan replies that he can smell the blood. Sung-min admits that he had no choice. A second-class fighter attacked him, and he had to fight back. Yan watches him closely and says, "There is something else Sung-min is not saying." He feels like Sung-min is hiding something. Sung-min remains silent, lost in his thoughts. And with this, we wrap up today's recap on Yan's mess of a life. But don't get too comfortable, because his disasters are far from over. There's plenty more chaos left. So hit that notification bell for updates. His story is just getting started. Hello, and welcome back. Let's jump right into Yan's story from where we left off. If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button, because we bring stories like never before. And if you haven't watched the first part of his journey, the link is in the description. Now let's begin. Sung-min sits on his bed, thinking about Yeon's question. Yeon is curious about Sung-min's abilities and notices something unusual. He observes how Sung-min has quickly adapted to this world and suspects that he is different from other extracurricular students. Yeon has spent time wandering around the city, trying to understand the world. He realizes that extracurricular students live difficult lives, often feeling powerless. He also knows that while humans kill insects easily, taking the life of an animal or a person requires crossing an emotional barrier. Yet Sung-min went hunting on his first day after being summoned. This makes Yeon question him more. Sung-min tries to act normal, saying survival made it necessary, but Yeon does not believe that is the whole story. Yeon explains that many extracurricular students hesitate to kill, even when they understand the harsh reality. Sung-min is not like them. Yeon also points out another strange thing. Sung-min does not have any special abilities, which should limit his learning. Even with training, he should only be able to master a small portion of what Yeon teaches him. However, in just 3 weeks, Sung-min has become skilled with a spear. His movements are too refined for a beginner. Usually, new fighters struggle with controlling energy and footwork, but Sung-min does not show those mistakes. Yeon questions how someone without abilities can learn so quickly. As they sit in silence, Yeon realizes that Sung-min is hiding something. He acknowledges that everyone has secrets, including himself. To make things fair, he offers Sung-min a deal. If Sung-min shares his secret, Yeon will reveal his own and teach Sung-min an extremely powerful technique. He gives him a choice between mastering spear combat or movement skills in battle. Sung-min finds this offer ironic. Without special abilities, he cannot fully use Yeon's teachings, nor does he have the internal energy to apply them properly. Yeon considers this and makes an unexpected decision. He will give Sung-min a quarter of his own energy. Sung-min is shocked and cannot tell if Yeon is serious. Yeon insists that he is simply curious about Sung-min. He also sees Sung-min as his only friend and wants to understand him better. To Yeon, friendship means sharing secrets, and he is willing to go first. Before Sung-min reveals anything, he makes Yeon promise not to kill him for being honest. Yeon is confused by this request, but agrees. Then Yeon lets down his hair and reveals his secret. He is actually a girl. Sung-min is completely shocked, even though it should have been obvious. Yeon explains that only men can become leaders of the heavenly demon sect. Her father ordered her to live as a boy, so she continues this act even after arriving in this world. Now that she has shared her secret, it is Sung-min's turn. He takes a deep breath and gathers his thoughts. He tells Yeon that he is not an ordinary person. He has lived before. Yeon is surprised at first but quickly understands. She realizes that Sung-min died and then returned to the past. It is an unbelievable idea, but in a world like this, she believes it is possible. Yeon asks why Sung-min thought she would want to kill him. Sung-min explains that although he was reborn as a 14-year-old boy, his real age is 27. He wonders if Yeon feels betrayed since she thought they were the same age. Yeon, however, does not care about his real age. She reminds Sung-min that she chose to teach him martial arts and to be his friend. He never tricked her, He only accepted what she offered. This does not change their friendship in her eyes. She has spent 3 weeks with him and sees him as a true friend. Sungmin is speechless. He never expected such kindness. He is deeply moved and feels grateful beyond words. Yeon then shifts the conversation back to his training. She comments on how weak Sungmin was in his previous life, expressing pity for his low skill level back then. However, she decides to ask more questions later. Right now, she is focused on helping him grow stronger. Without hesitation, Yeon prepares to transfer a quarter of her internal energy to Sungmin. Sungmin is shocked and excited at the same time. Martial artists use internal energy in combat. It gives them superpowers and grows stronger with concentration techniques over time. Fighters spend their whole lives increasing their energy potential, which is the foundation of their power. Yeon tells Sungmin that his blood vessels are contaminated. The transfer of energy potential is rare, and his vessels are very dirty. She also says that starting martial arts at 14 is too late, but she is still going to give him a quarter of her internal energy. How much he can keep depends on him. Yeon advises him to use the Violet Dawn path to absorb it properly. Yeon begins transferring internal energy to Sungmin. He feels intense pain, and his body becomes tense. After some time, an aura starts coming from his hand. He is shocked that this is only a quarter of Yeon's energy. It is already much more than what he could gather in his past life. Yeon asks him how much he has managed to keep. Sungmin estimates that he has held on to half of it. She tells him not to worry, because the remaining energy will spread through his meridians. If he follows the Violet Dawn path, he will be able to absorb all of it into his body. Suddenly, Yeon collapses. Sungmin panics and rushes to her, asking what is wrong. She tells him not to make a fuss, and says she is just a little tired. Sungmin wonders why she is doing all of this for him. Yeon simply says it is because they are friends. She tells him not to feel burdened since she is doing it for herself. Then, she keeps her promise and offers to teach him another technique, the spear technique. Sungmin is surprised that she is willing to give him such a powerful skill. Yeon explains that the Spear King's technique, known as the Ninth Heaven Spear, is perfect for him. Sungmin wants to say something, but Yeon continues speaking. She says that because of his abilities, it will be difficult for him to fully master the technique. So, she will simplify it for him. He still wants to protest, but Yeon tells him not to argue. She insists that she is doing it for her own reasons. However, she admits that she is really doing it for him, as he is her first friend. She also says that she does not want Sungmin to disappear again, after only 13 years. Her words deeply move him. He bows to her in gratitude, but she immediately hits him. She says that friends do not bow to each other. Sungmin asks why bowing is wrong and why she thinks friends do not do it. She simply replies that she does not like it. Then, she pushes him down, so that he is lying next to her. She suggests doing something more enjoyable instead. Sungmin is shocked and asks what she means. Yeon tells him to talk about his past life. She wants to know what he knew about her back then. Sungmin starts his story. In his past life, he barely survived and only knew about Yeon through rumors. People said she was at the peak of area, unmatched in strength. Yeon laughs and says that it is not surprising since it is her. Sungmin tells her that she left the city just a month after appearing in his past life. Then she disappeared for 3 years. Yeon says she must have been traveling. She always longed for freedom, which was impossible in the cult. There, she was constantly watched and had to follow strict rules set by the cult leader. Now, she is happy to be in this world. She believes she was called here so she could finally be free. She also met Sungmin, her first friend. Sungmin feels shy about being called her first friend. Then Yeon says she will leave in a month. She wants to enjoy her freedom and this new world. Before she leaves, she plans to finish teaching Sungmin the Ninth Heaven Spear technique. She asks him what he plans to do after she leaves. Sungmin has not thought about it yet. He remembers his past life, how weak and miserable he was. He does not want to live like that again. He tells Yeon that he wants to live better this time. Yeon asks if that is his only goal. She tells him to think about what he really wants and tell her later. Then Yeon remembers something important. She is excited and asks Sungmin more about his past life. He hesitates, saying there is not much to tell. Yan already expected this answer. Sung Min suddenly thinks about his old life in Xenovis. He wonders if he ever had a real friend. Then he realizes the truth. He never had one. It surprises him. Just as he is Yan's first friend, she is his first friend too. That night, they talk about many things. A month passes. The weather is beautiful, and Sung Min is training hard. Yan wants to see how much he has learned in this time. It is almost time for her to leave. After this final training session, she will begin her journey. Sung Min is determined to prove himself. He shouts that he will show her his strength. Yan asks if this is how he imagined the fight. She warns him that with his abilities, he should not fight carelessly. Sung Min becomes extremely angry and charges at Yan. Yan gives Sung Min a head start of 20 moves. Sung Min wonders how to use them effectively. Then we see a flashback. Yan tells Sung Min that she has found a way to simplify the Ninth Heaven Spear technique for him. She calls it the improved Ninth Heaven Spear technique. Sung Min's style. Sung Min feels uncomfortable with his name being in it, but Yan says she adjusted the technique specifically for him, so there is no problem. However, Sung Min does not want his name included. Back in the present, Sung Min realizes that Yan has combined his technique with elements of the soul-shattering spear technique. He wonders if this is the right moment to use it. He decides to try and uses the first move of the improved technique. Yan does not move. She simply holds out her hand and easily parries his spear, counting 1. The spear is deflected, so Sung Min tries a roundhouse kick, but Yan dodges it. This is his second move. He then uses the second movement of his spear technique. But once again, Yan blocks it with just one hand. This is his third move. Yan comments that Sung Min has improved a lot since the start of his training, especially in parrying, blocking, and striking. She explains that parrying redirects an attack outward, while blocking stops an attack with a downward motion. These are the basics of using a spear. She asks if he knew about them before she taught him. Sung Min says he learned them on his own through trial and error. Yan tells him to keep practicing every day until these moves become second nature. Sung Min thanks her. He continues attacking, making his 4th and 5th moves. After his 6th move, Yan gives him advice. He should use his back muscles more to increase his attack power. Sung Min takes her advice and makes his 7th move. Yan acknowledges his improvement. Sung Min is frustrated. He has already reached the level of a second-class martial artist thanks to Yeon's teachings. But even so, she is blocking all his attacks with just her right hand. Yan is at the highest level of martial arts. She then says that Sung Min is being indecisive. She asks if he has given up. Sung Min denies it and rushes at her again, but she effortlessly parries his attacks once more. Yan tells him he has only one move left. For the first time, Sung Min manages to get his spear very close to Yan. She looks surprised, but in an instant, she vanishes. Sung Min is shocked, and we see Yan suddenly appearing behind him. She lightly touches his shoulder and tells him he has lost. Yan praises Sung Min for his improvement. However, he feels frustrated. He tells her she cannot console him when she blocked all his attacks so easily with one hand. Yan notices that Sung Min has good instincts. Despite his limited abilities, she believes he was born for martial arts. She points out that he sensed her moving behind him, even though he could not see her. This alone is a superpower. She is confident that one day he will develop this ability further and gain a big advantage over others. She then says something strange. She hopes to see him in 10 years. Sung Min does not understand. Yan reminds him that a month ago, she asked if he had a goal. She asks him if he has decided on one, but Sung Min says he still does not know. Yan tells him that if he has no goal, then he should make her his target. Sung Min clenches his fist. She explains that a person needs a purpose in life. Without a goal, a person is like a boat without a captain. She tells him to set a goal to defeat her in battle 10 years from now. Sung Min immediately says he cannot do it. He shouts that even if he makes her his target, he will never be able to become like her. He asks her to stop talking about something impossible. He insists that he has no talent. He calls Yan a natural genius and says she probably had access to elixirs. He believes she does not understand what it is like to be a nobody. He says it is impossible for him to reach her level because they were never equal from the start. Yan sighs and says he is doing it again. She looks disgusted. She tells him that this attitude is what she dislikes most about him. He is still holding on to the failures of his past life, letting them drag him down. Sungmin gets angry. He reminds her that he was summoned to Area without any special abilities. He had to fight a wild boar in the mud just to survive. His entire past life was spent struggling in poverty. Yeon acknowledges this, but tells him that things are different now. He has learned mystical martial arts from a master. In just 3 months, he has become a second-class fighter. She asks if he realizes that this is a second chance for him. She says that instead of using this new life to find meaning, he is stuck listening to the inferiority complex from his past life. He does not even allow himself to try. She challenges him. If something seems too hard, does he just give up without even attempting it? She reminds him that he has a new life and a new opportunity. But before she can continue, Sungmin interrupts her. Yeon asks if he is really angry. Sungmin grins. He cannot believe that he is being lectured by a 13-year-old. Then, he finally gives in. If Yeon insists so much, he will make her his target. He declares that he will train with only one goal in mind, to fight her in 10 years and plunge a spear into her heart. Yeon waves her hand and tells him that if he does that, she will die. But he does not need to be so extreme toward a friend. Sungmin suddenly realizes what he just said. Yeon clarifies that it will only be a friendly sparring match. Then, Sungmin is surprised by something. Yeon laughs and teases him, saying that he was so angry a moment ago, but now he looks embarrassed. She does not understand him. She repeats that they will meet again in 10 years. She says she is looking forward to their fight. Sungmin gets confused. Yeon suddenly gets close to him. She asks if he has butterflies in his stomach. Sungmin quickly denies it, saying that she just moved closer and that she is still a child. Yeon smirks and moves even closer. She reminds him that he is actually a 27-year-old man with the face of a teenager. Sungmin panics and tells her to step back because she is too close. He keeps yelling for her to move away, but she leans in and touches his cheek with her nose. She asks if this means he does not like her that way. Yeon confidently says that in 10 years, she will grow into a beautiful woman, so stunning that Sungmin will be speechless. Then, he will not be able to call her a child anymore. At that time, Sungmin sets 3 goals for himself. First is to survive. Second is take advantage of all the opportunities he missed in his previous life. And lastly, to defeat Weiji Hoyeon. As Yeon prepares to leave, she turns around and tells Sungmin to don't dies. Sungmin smiles, assuring him he will not. Then, they part ways. Sungmin has 3 chances he shouldn't miss in this lifetime: skeletal enhancement, the pure heavenly concentration technique, and a tournament for extracurricular activities. Various tournaments are held in Xanavis, and Sungmin can participate in one of them. 10 months after Yeon left, Sungmin enters the tournament and meets a strong man who underestimates him. The man suggests that Sungmin give up since he is a level 3 fighter. However, during this time, Sungmin has grown to the first level of martial arts proficiency. As a result, he wins the tournament with ease. Among the extra-class fighters, Sungmin has no equal. The reward for the tournament is the Sacred Power Elixir, which increases internal energy potential. Sungmin takes the elixir immediately. He knows that it gives him the boost he needed, and now he has everything he wanted from Xanavis City, except one thing. Later, in the city, Sungmin visits the salesman, who lent him money. The salesman congratulates him on winning the tournament and asks why he is here. Sungmin says he has come to say goodbye. The salesman already knew Sungmin would leave. He mentions that the little extracurricular student has achieved everything possible in Xanavis. The salesman warns that the outside world is dangerous, but believes Sungmin will handle it because smart people survive longer. The man then gives Sungmin an oversized pouch, saying it's about 1.5 times bigger than the one Sungmin bought the day before. Sungmin asks why the salesman is giving him a gift. The salesman says that when you give a gift, you need to. He explains that he cannot sell the pouch because it's in bad condition. As a parting gift, he tells Sungmin to come back when he becomes popular, and to tell everyone that he owed money to the merchant when he was young. Sungmin becomes angry, and we are transported to the inn. Sungmin enters, and Lula notices he's packing. She asks if he is moving out, and Sungmin is surprised she knows. Lula says that it's the first time he has ever cleaned his room, and only a blind person would miss it. She asks why he's leaving, as it's her responsibility to take care of him. Sungmin explains that he has to go. Lula reacts with frustration, saying she wishes he would go missing and die somewhere, then runs off. Jack is on his way to a meeting and asks Sungmin if he understands Lula. Jack tells him that Lula is young and asks Sungmin to be understanding. Jack also mentions that Sungmin seems much older than his body suggests. He gives Sungmin a cloak he used to wear when he was a young warrior. Although it doesn't look good, the cloak has heat magic and a magic spell that can help in a fight. Sungmin. Thanks, Jack. The innkeeper says the cloak is too big for Sungmin, so he should go to the tailor. Jack pats Sungmin on the shoulder and says he will go far. Jack tells him that Sungmin is the most capable extracurricular student he has ever met and almost sheds a tear. He tells Sungmin to take care of himself. Sungmin spends some time wandering around the city and ends up encountering Lula. She runs after him, apologizing for what she said earlier. She asks him not to die, and he is surprised that she ran so far just to apologize. She says that she's sorry he's leaving, but that she wants him to live a long life. She tells him that if things get hard, he can always come back to the city. Sungmin thanks her. Lula says that one day, she started seeing him differently and thinks she may have started liking him. She says her hands are shaking, unsure of what's wrong with her. Sungmin says he noticed and apologizes. Lula pretends everything is fine and asks him to take care of himself. Sungmin reassures her that there's nothing to fear and that he won't die. He then says goodbye, and Lula continues to sob. Sungmin reflects on how, in his past life, it took him 3 years to leave Xenovis, but this time, it only took 1 year. Strangely, Sungmin realizes that he has no good memories from his previous life. But in this new life, he has experienced all the good he missed. He wonders if he will ever come back to Xenovis. Deciding that there's nothing to fear since he won't die, Sungmin continues his journey. He meets a man who says he hasn't met such a young practitioner in a long time. The man asks what kind of ban Sungmin wants to impose on himself. Sungmin decides that to achieve his goal, he needs to become stronger. Sungmin remembers a conversation with Yeon from the past. She asks where they should meet after 10 years, since she doesn't know the geography of this world. Sungmin thinks about it and suggests meeting in Beihengir. But now he still has 9 years before that meeting. He doesn't know where to go next, but he knows he doesn't need to head to Beihengir yet. He considers becoming a mercenary, but that would just repeat his past life. Instead, he wants to improve his skills. Then he remembers something, Mount Mershi. This mountain is connected to Mershi, the god of trials and hardships. There is a group of priests who live there, and they use special training methods. They place a forbidden spell on a person's body or senses, which makes training 100 times more effective. Sungmin decides to go there. As he walks, he feels that the mountain is not too far. When he arrives at Mount Mershi, he meets a priest who gives him a special ban. Sungmin accepts it and begins his training. The first ban placed on him is the prohibition of lightness. Because of this, his whole body feels unnaturally heavy. Even his equipment becomes much harder to carry. His oversized bag is much heavier than before, and even a simple piece of bread feels like a burden. The second ban is placed on his sense of taste. At first, Sungmin doesn't realize how bad it is, but when he takes a bite of bread, it suddenly turns into a pile of insects in his mouth. He spits it out in shock. This ban makes all food taste disgusting. It's not just about losing the ability to taste. Everything he eats feels nauseating. The textures change too. Instead of a normal piece of bread, it feels like he is chewing slimy, moving insects that release juices in his mouth. Sungmin quickly realizes that under this ban, drinking and eating will be very difficult. He didn't expect it to be this terrible. A thought crosses his mind. Should he give up? He questions whether he really needs to train this hard. He could go to Beihengir and become a mercenary instead. If he did, he would quickly rise in rank. That path seems easier than his past life, and right now, he feels like he is pushing himself too far. But then, he remembers Yeon. This memory gives him strength. He stands up, grabs the bread, and forces himself to eat. Even though he feels sick, he drinks water to wash it down. He decides to try harder. While eating, he mutters something negative about Mershi. Suddenly, he hears a voice behind him telling him to be quiet. Startled, he turns around, but no one is there. A week passes. Sungmin is now out hunting. He hides, waiting for the right moment to attack a deer. When the moment comes, he lunges at the deer with his spear. But something strange happens. He freezes. He realizes he can't bring himself to kill the deer. The deer stands still for a moment, then runs away. Before leaving, it looks back as if mocking him. Sung Min is shocked. He kneels on the ground, feeling frustrated. For the past week, he has only eaten bread and water. He is weak. Life on Mount Mercy is harsh. The bans make everything harder. He must survive in the wild, find shelter from the rain, and hunt for food, all while dealing with his body's heaviness and the inability to enjoy eating. The nights are much colder than the days, and the predators are fast and strong. Because of the ban on lightness, every movement he makes feels slow and heavy. Even if he successfully hunts an animal, the ban on taste means he cannot enjoy his meal. Now, after a full week, his body is getting weaker. He planned to train here for 2 years, but he starts to wonder if it's worth it. If his body keeps failing, will this training really help him? Suddenly, a rock falls in front of him. He looks up and sees a girl with white hair, dressed completely in white. She jumps down and approaches him. Sung Min asks who she is, but she only waves in response. He notices a prohibition sign on her throat, meaning she is unable to speak. Sung Min remembers that Mount Mercy has a rule. People living here cannot harm each other. Realizing she isn't a threat, he relaxes and asks for her name. She points to the prohibition sign on her throat and then holds up a small cross. This tells him that she has taken a vow of silence. Then, she throws something at him. It is a deer, the same one that escaped from him earlier. Sung Min is surprised. He is about to refuse, but before he can, the girl picks up a stick and writes something on the ground. She explains that she has been watching him for a few days. She saw that if he continues like this, he will starve to death. That's why she decided to help him. Sung Min is grateful. He thanks her for the food and asks what she wants in return, but the girl shakes her head. She doesn't need anything. She simply wanted to help because she is kind. Sung Min meets a young huntress who decides to help him. She says she is helping only because she is kind. Whenever Sung Min is in trouble, she appears to assist him. He asks for her name and is surprised when she tells him her name is Baek Sogo. Sung Min has heard this name before. In his past life, she was a famous warrior. People called her Lightning because she was as fast as lightning. But Sung Min is not shocked just because she is a future celebrity. He is surprised because he knows something terrible. Sogo will die in 10 years. He remembers that she will die in the arms of the little demon Ouiji Hoyon. The rules of Mount Mercy are very strict. Every 6 months, the practitioners must choose a new band for themselves. They are also forbidden from harming each other. One day we find Sung Min sits under a tree, thinking about Baek Sogo's fate. He wonders where she will die. Just then, she suddenly appears in front of him. He is startled. She writes in the dirt, greeting him. He is surprised to see her cutting stone with just her finger. She tells him she was worried because he wasn't eating again, so she came to check on him. Sung Min thanks her. Then he notices something strange about her hand. She explains that she now has another ban. Now she can no longer use her left hand. Since it has been 6 months, she had to choose a new restriction. She says it is difficult to live without her left arm. Baek Sogo asks about Sung Min's bans. She says it must be hard for him, because he can't even enjoy eating. She asks if he knows what bans other practitioners have placed on themselves. Sung Min is curious, so she offers to introduce him to the other practitioners. Before he can even respond, she runs ahead. Sung Min wonders how he can keep up with her. She quickly returns and realizes her mistake. She forgot about Sung Min's ban on lightness. Because of this restriction, his body is extremely heavy, making it impossible for him to move fast. She tells him that with a weighted body, he needs to focus on movement techniques instead of just using his spear. Sung Min asks if she has been watching him train. He then asks her to teach him movement techniques. Baek Sogo refuses. She says she is kind, but she cannot share techniques that give her an advantage in battle. Sung Min laughs and pretends to joke, but deep inside, he is unhappy. She places a hand on his shoulder and tells him that since he is slow, she will carry him. Before he can protest, she warns him to hold on tight. When they arrive, another practitioner sees them and asks who Sung Min is. This girl calls Baek Sogo Sogo the Mute and wants to know about the new boy. Baek Sogo introduces Sung Min as a new practitioner. The girl is Scarlet Lyseer, the future Archmage. Scarlet's ban is that she cannot wash or change her clothes, so she smells bad. Then another practitioner appears. He is Dokbi Jun, a future master swordsman. He has a vision ban, meaning he cannot see. Dokbi is excited to hear that Sung Min is a fighter. He wants to spar with him someday. Scarlet tells Sung Min that only 4 practitioners are left on the mountain after 6 months of training. Sung Min is shocked. He recognizes these names from his past life. These people will become great masters in the future, but right now, they are not famous yet. Soon, their names will spread across the land. Scarlet asks what ban Sung Min has placed on himself. When he tells her, she gets surprised. She realizes that he has taken 2 bans at once, even though he has not been on the mountain for 6 months yet. She warns him that he won't last long if he keeps making things harder for himself. Dokbi disagrees. He says Sung Min has come here to gain power, so it makes sense that he is pushing himself. He smiles and says Sung Min is trying to overcome his own limits at any cost. He asks Sung Min if this is true. Sung Min feels nervous, but admits that it is. Then Dokbi suddenly says something strange. He wonders how long Sung Min will last. He says he will keep an eye on him. Scarlet looks at Sogo and says she must be happy. Now there are 2 odd people on the mountain who took 2 bans at the beginning of their journey. She says it is time to return. Sung Min remembers that Scarlet said only 4 practitioners had survived for more than 6 months. Dokbi asks if Sung Min wants to meet the 4th person, but then he says he doesn't recommend it. Sung Min is confused. Dokbi Jun and Scarlet suddenly become serious. They warn him that this person, Flam, is dangerous. 4 months pass. By now, Sung Min has gotten used to the bans, but they feel even harder than before. His body is heavier and food tastes worse. However, he feels stronger. After 4 months of training, he upgrades the Violet Dawn path to 3 stars. Even though his skeleton enhancement was low grade, it greatly improves his martial arts growth. Life on the mountain is still difficult, but Sung Min keeps training. He can now cut through a tree with his spear. He feels proud as well as believes his hard work is paying off. During the day, he practices the 9th Heaven spear technique in his own style. At night, he trains in the Purple Dawn path. Every movement is painful. His bones feel like they might break, and his muscles scream with every attack. But he refuses to give up. He has set an important goal for himself, and he will survive. Sung Min notices that he has grown taller. His clothes are now too small for him. Suddenly, someone appears watching Sung Min practice with his spear. Suddenly, the stranger speaks. He says that Sung Min is good with the spear. He has blue hair and strange eyes. He tells Sung Min that he has never met someone the same age as him before. He introduces himself as Flam, and then he asks for Sung Min's name. And with this, we wrap up today's recap on Yeon's mess of a life, but don't get too comfortable. The second part is only the beginning of this wild regression. There is far more to come, so hit that notification bell for updates. His story is just getting started.